Imagine losing everything, not to strangers, but to your own flesh and blood. Picture a brother, someone you grew up trusting, turning your father's legacy into his own, convincing everyone you didn't deserve a single dollar. That's exactly what happened to me. By the time I stepped into that courtroom, the air was heavy. No warmth, no family comfort, only eyes cold and cynical. I saw the looks, not sympathy, just suspicion. People whisper behind their hands, judging me as greedy, as if I wanted more than I'd earned, as if I'd come back too late, as if I didn't belong. The hardest part, the part that still stings, is knowing they believe him. Every accusation echoed louder than the truth. My brother's words swallowed mine, twisting the memory of my father, turning love into doubt. I stood there, surrounded by silence, feeling the weight of justice slipping through my fingers. Betrayal isn't just about losing money. It's about losing family, losing trust, losing the chance to tell your story while everyone decides who you are without ever really listening. Sometimes, you walk away from that courtroom with nothing in your hands, but you carry the scar of being doubted, of being wrong, of watching the world see you through someone else's lies. Betrayal. The very word echoes with danger, whisper in the shadows of our imaginations.
Most expect it to come from a stranger, a distant figure lurking on the edge of trust. Yet, the deeper truth is unsettling. The sharpest wounds often cut from within. Familiar faces, blood ties, childhood memories.
When my father passed away, it felt as though the universe was holding its breath, waiting for us to unite, to honor his wishes. Divide the estate, respect the will, move forward, simple and clean. But life is rarely that tidy. Unbeknownst to us, my brother was forging his own path, one masked by warmth and family camaraderie. He wasn't waiting for fate or fairness. He was orchestrating, quietly, methodically, shaping the story before anyone else could see the threads unravel. Suddenly, the sense of safety shattered. The truth surfaced, not in raised voices or slammed doors, but in cold documents and whispered conversations in the dark. My brother, my confidant, had become the architect of betrayal. It's not just what happens to you, it's who does it. And sometimes, the greatest betrayal comes from the hands you've held your whole life. Whispers have a way of growing into storms. One voice tells a story, then another echoes it, shaping it, until the truth becomes something unrecognizable. He told everyone I left, that I walked away from my own family, that I simply never cared enough to return, never bothered to look back or help when it mattered most. And slowly, the narrative took on a life of its own. Neighbors started to nod with certainty. Friends exchanged glances, repeating the story as if it were a memory they shared. A single version, painted with broad strokes of disappointment and blame. With each retelling, suspicion hardened into belief. Lines were drawn. Distance quietly settled in. Over time, that story, the one I never lived, became the truth, at least in their eyes. What began as a rumor became a reality, shaping their hearts, their judgments, their world. This is how easily a falsehood can take root, and how sometimes the truth isn't the strongest force in the room. Instead, it's the story people choose to tell and what they decide to believe. On the surface, my life looked flawless. Neighbors nodded in admiration. Family praised my dedication. To them, I was always present, steady, reliable, the perfect son. I made the calls, paid the bills, sorted out every detail, never missing a step. Each day, I wore a calm expression and handled it all. The finances, the care, the endless responsibilities. But the truth, it lived in the spaces no one bothered to look. Behind closed doors, I felt the weight pressing down, heavier each day. There were moments where I stood alone in the kitchen, hands shaking, silent tears threatening to fall. No one saw the nights I lay awake, mind racing, wondering how much longer I could do this. No one noticed the cracks forming, tiny at first, but growing. People only saw the son who had it all together. They never asked what it cost. They never saw the struggle, the exhaustion, the silent screams for help. So I kept the mask in place every day, afraid that if it slipped, the truth would be too much for anyone to bear. For all the praise, for every word of thanks, the world saw only one face. Adam, standing there, confident, proud, credited as a hero. But behind the curtain, far from applause, another story unfolded. Every hospital bill, every prescription, every late-night call for help was answered by someone else. Quietly, receipts with no signatures, payments made in silence, no name ever mentioned, no eyes ever turning in gratitude. While Adam basked in the spotlight, the real sacrifice went unseen, unheard. That's how it all slipped through. Hidden kindness, invisible struggle. And because no one was looking, because credit never mattered, the truth stayed buried, just as intended. Imagine standing in a room where decisions are final, and your future hangs in the balance. The story, it turns out, was already written before we even reached the courthouse steps. He stood tall, his confidence casting shadows across the courtroom. He turned to the judge and, with conviction, declared I had contributed nothing, that I was invisible, that I didn't deserve a thing. In that moment, the world felt silent. I watched his words twist the truth before everyone's eyes. And for a flicker of time, a heartbeat, it seemed he might actually win. Because all the evidence, every document, painted me out of the story. On paper, he had everything. Resources, power, a narrative crafted in his favor. I had nothing but the truth, and the fragile hope that somewhere, someone might listen. The pressure pressed in from every side. Doubt whispered its way through my thoughts, but I refused to look away. I stood my ground, clinging to the belief that my story, our story, wasn't just a line on a page. It was real. It mattered. And as I held my breath, waiting for the judge to speak, I wondered, would the truth have a voice in this courtroom, or would silence swallow it whole? Can you prove you contributed anything? The words hit like a hammer, echoing across the room. Time seemed to slow. Every whisper, every heartbeat faded away. All eyes, judges, jurors, strangers, locked onto me, waiting. Doubt hung in the air, thick and heavy. Some expected defeat. Some wanted it. But I just looked back, steady and unwavering. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. My silence grew louder than any answer I could give. Calm, deliberate. The power in not flinching, not giving them what they wanted. That's when my lawyer stood up, every movement measured, controlled. The tension in the room shifted. Anticipation turned electric. In that moment, I had already told them everything they needed to know without saying a word. A single file lands on the table. The sound echoes in the silence. Adam's hands are steady, methodical, detached, as if this moment has been practiced countless times. No one says a word. My brother, sitting across from him, just smiles. It's quiet, too quiet. His smile is calm, almost careless, like whatever Adam brought can't touch him, like he's won already. But then, the judge opens a file. Pages ruffle, tension thickens. The room changes. You can feel it, sharp and sudden. My brother's smile fades as the truth unfolds, right there between the lines. Everything is about to change. The judge's fingers tapped softly against a stack of documents. Each page turned with agonizing slowness until he stopped. Quiet enveloped the room. All eyes followed his gaze as he looked up, locking onto my brother with an intensity that cut through the silence. These payments, the judge's words hovered, unfinished, heavy with unspoken meaning. He shifted, his pause stretching the tension to a breaking point. Weren't made by you. Everything around us stilled. Even breath felt forbidden. Then came the final revelation, his voice cold as steel. They were made anonymously through an account linked to your brother. In that single instant, time seemed to stop. The truth detonated in the silence, shockwaves rippling through every soul in courtroom. Nothing would ever be the same again. In that moment, everything he built collapsed. The story, the lies, all of it, gone in an instant. The room felt heavy, silent. Every eye on me, waiting. But I stood up, calm, steady. Inside, I felt a storm. But on the outside, I was unshaken. I looked at them and spoke, quietly but with strength. I never left. I just didn't need credit. For a long moment, nobody spoke. And then something changed. For the first time, they saw me. Not the scapegoat, not the outcast, but the truth. Have you ever had someone twist your story? Maybe you watched your truth get buried under someone else's words. If you have, I want to hear. Share your story below. And if you want more moments like this, subscribe for the next one.